Welcome to the Immigrant Entrepreneurs Podcast, Episode 4. My name is Alina, and today I have a great honor to bring on JP Piccinini onto my show. He's got some solid advice for all of us immigrants out there, and I'm really excited to share his story with you. JP came to the US from Naples, Italy with his family while his father was in the Italian Air Force at 13 years old. In this episode, JP explains how he was set out to be an engineer after college, but came to real estate through a newspaper ad. JP started JP and Associates Realtors from zero in 2011 and came close to $2 billion in sales in 5 years, thus creating one of the top 100 and fastest growing real estate brokerages in the US. Let's dive right in and hear his immigrant entrepreneurial journey. Thank you so much, JP, for coming on to this call. I really appreciate you taking your time. How are you today?
I'm fantastic, Alina. Thank you for having me on the show. Always an exciting time talking.
Awesome. So let's start from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about your immigrant journey. Where did you come from and when did you come to the States?
Well, I immigrated from Naples, Italy, and I came here when I was 13 years old. My father was in the Italian Air Force, and I like to refer to as he got the proverbial Willy Wonka golden ticket to come to the United States. Not very many Italian sergeants get to travel or live abroad. So my father just happened to be one of those guys. And I was 13 years old. None of us spoke any English whatsoever. None. I don't even know what they were thinking when they sent my father over to the United States. And it wasn't just the United States. I mean, it wasn't like New York or LA or some big city. It was Wichita Falls, Texas, which is 2 hours north of Dallas. I remember looking at the encyclopedia and old maps, and it looked like it was in the middle of the desert. My grandpa was frantic about, you're moving my daughter and my grandkids to the middle of the desert. You know, he wasn't very happy with my father. Of course, typical Italian nucleus, right? Everybody lived in the same building, all the kids and everything else and whatnot. But we did it, and I don't know how we did it to this day, to be honest with you.
Your father was working for the military?
Yeah, the Italian Air Force.
Got it.
Yep, the Italian Air Force, and he was attached to NATO. So it's why Shepherd Air Force Base, why Wichita Falls? Because in Wichita Falls, in the middle of nowhere, has a NATO European Joint Jet Training Pilot Group. So every NATO pilot comes to the United States and trains on American jets on fighter pilot school. So my father was here helping Italian pilots come in here and learning the jets and whatnot. So it's a great opportunity for all of us. I was a freshman in high school, and little would I know that through the challenges, I never actually went back to Italy. So we had to learn our way of life, and somehow we all assimilated, or at least I assimilated. My parents are not living back in Italy. But it wasn't a couple of years later that I considered myself an American kid, and I chose not to go back to Italy and start college here in Wichita Falls.
So you guys had no family, no friends, no one here?
None.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about the struggles that you guys had to go through when you first immigrated to the States.
Well, Alina, I know you're Russian, right? And,
yes.
Your culture is wonderful and very family oriented as well. The first thing was just being away from everybody, your friends, your family. I literally grew up in a compound I refer to where my uncles and aunts were next door, my cousins next door, above me, below me, everybody in the same building. So, Sunday dinners, at my grandpa's house. It was special times, obviously. We took it for granted back then, but now, gosh, I look back to that. I feel so fortunate to have been and grow up in that environment. So that was obviously the first thing. My mother missed her family, and my father had no idea how to communicate with people other than the Italian detachment that was here. Wichita Falls is not exactly the most cultural city. So, you think about a town that's stuck between Oklahoma and Texas, 2 hours north of Dallas. We didn't have the basic needs that we were accustomed to, like, pasta. We had to buy Skinner pasta was the only pasta that was at the store. And if you ever go to a store in Italy, I mean, there's aisles and aisles of, it's comparable to our chips and cereal aisles here. So it was a culture shock, without a doubt. I mean, forget about the fact that I was a freshman in high school and I didn't know a thing of what everybody was saying or how to get around or what the teachers were teaching me or what my homework was going to be like. It was just I'm just to this day I'm floored at in a day where social media wasn't around and Google wasn't around, and I have no idea how we got around. But again, if you look back at 100 years before that, our ancestors did it right, and they had the same challenges. So I'm not saying that it was coming off a boat, because we came off an airplane, but it was pretty. We had a job. My father had a job, and we had a roof over our head. I grew up in suburbia, Wichita Falls, so a little 3-bedroom house. We went from a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 900 square foot condo in very urban Naples to sprawling suburbia of Texas. Not sprawling, but suburbia, small town of Texas, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot house with a yard. So none of us knew what to do with it. We didn't even know how to cut the grass. How to cut grass, how to go to the grocery store, what food meant. Mom was looking for the basic needs to cook, and it was challenging. Bologna was different, sausage was different. Everything tasted so different.
Awesome. So before you tell our listeners about how you opened your company, tell me a little bit about your path that you took. Did you try going into any other fields before starting your business?
Yeah, just like every entrepreneur, right? You go to college and you graduate from college and you know exactly what you're going to do, and you're going to start your business and you go on straight to success, right? No, it was far from it. My parents went back to Italy, as I said. I graduated. My parents went back. I enrolled at Midwestern State University, which is a little state college in Wichita Falls, because that's really all I knew. That to me was home. I made friends. I had a girlfriend. So for me, going back to Italy was just not on the ticket. So I enrolled, and I chose engineering. I thought it was a good opportunity for me to be able to get hired after college. Kind of stand out a little bit from everybody else. So I chose a difficult degree. Made a lot of amazing friends, learned a lot. I got into a fraternity, and it really moved up the leadership of the fraternity. So my family became my fraternity in college. So never really had a lonesome feeling, because I always had a lot of my fraternity brothers, and I lived in the house, and it was great. I mean, amazing memories and friends made in college. And there's times where Lady Luck does kiss you on the cheek and said, kid, let me see what you can do. And graduating from college and not necessarily having a visa, because I was on F1 visa as a student, and then I went to OPT visa for a year, for a chance to get hired. So I wasn't, my status in the United States wasn't permanent. So I graduated with an engineering degree, and this aerospace company in Wichita Falls interviewed me. And so luck would have it, the company's largest client was Fiat Avio in the aerospace. They had a joint venture with General Electric aircraft engines, making gas turbine engines, and they needed an engineer. They wanted an engineer. I graduated with manufacturing engineer, got into aerospace, and when they heard that I spoke Italian, they pounced on it. So I was that rare gem for them. Some kid from Wichita Falls that has an engineering degree that can speak Italian. It was gold for them. Yeah. So I know it sounds too good to be true. And so at 21 years old, I went to work for GE aircraft engines, essentially, and Fiat Avio in Wichita Falls. And I was a young engineer, and God, what an amazing job that was for a 21-year-old. I hated every minute of it, to be honest with you. I really did. But it was honestly, could not have asked for a better position, because it really taught me that corporate mentality, that corporate methodology. And I was an immigrant. I knew that I only had a year, basically. If I didn't prove myself, that they could fire me, they could send me back to Italy, and I'd be completely grounded. So I had to start from scratch. Mm-hmm. So I worked my butt off as an engineer. I traveled a lot for Fiat, and they really liked me, and I was fortunate enough for them to extend a H-1B visa for me. So worked for that company for about really essentially 8 years. And 9/11 hit. I was in the aerospace sector. 9/11 hit. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the aerospace sector. Mm-hmm. So I started looking. I was married. I had a little girl, bought a house. I was looking for things to do. What could be my next thing? And the next thing, really, in my mind, was out of all the options that were out there for me to do that at 28 years old that I thought I would be doing well at was real estate. So I got my real estate license, quit the engineering world, got my real estate license, gave myself 6 months to see what that would be like. If not, I knew I was confident I was able to get another job. By then, I had a green card. I was married, and I wasn't necessarily relying on sponsorship of visas or anything. I fell in love with real estate. I did really well as an engineer.
If I can interrupt just real quick.
Yeah.
So you're sitting and you're thinking of what should I do next? And the very first thing that comes to your mind is real estate.
No, not quite that. No. Good question. No, I was doing engineering and I was bored with it. I knew I was ready for a challenge or for something different. And what really came about was I was looking for other engineering jobs, other career changes, anything that really resonated with my skills and what I love doing. I knew that I didn't want to be a 40-year-old engineer sitting in a cubicle working for somebody else. That for sure I knew that I didn't want. And I pulled up the Sunday newspaper, looked at, there was a real estate career fair, and I jumped on it. I jumped at the opportunity. I went to the career fair, and they told me all about real estate, the potential of unlimited income, earning, flexible schedule, and I gave it a shot.
The good old days with the newspaper. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Got the newspaper on Sunday. And this was 2004, 2005, pre-housing crash.
Wow.
So everybody was doing great in real estate. Everybody was getting into real estate, right? It was amazing, amazing job and amazing career. My friends that I had at the time were in it. They were doing really well. So I gave it a shot. I gave myself 6 months, knowing that, if it didn't work, that I could, essentially go find another job somewhere, Get right back in. The job market was hot. It was a great time in economy and whatnot. So I gave myself, 6 months, and to be honest with you, I fell in love with it. So I went from engineering, junior executive, to a realtor, to selling homes. Wow. I can tell you, everybody was freaking out. Everybody thought I lost my marbles.
Right.
I had kids. At the time, we had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, a mortgage payment, so much at stake. And, I guess that because I had so much at stake, because I had so much anxiety of the career and making sure it was the right decision, I really went to work and rolled out my sleeve as a realtor. I did really well. Within 3 years, I was the number one agent in my market. I had a team. I was selling more real estate than anybody else in my market. So I fell in love with it.
And so how long after that you opened up your company?
I became the number one agent in my market. I was ready for the next challenge. And to be honest with you, the next challenge was I want to start my own brokerage. So in 2011, I decided that I was planning on buying a franchise with national brand. And I thought to myself, something just doesn't feel right. This national brand doesn't necessarily feed my entrepreneur spirit, because it felt like it wasn't just what I was looking for as an entrepreneur. So I started JP and Associates Realtors. A lot of people now refer to as JPAR in September of 2011. So that was about 7-8 years after getting my real estate license.
And how old were you when you started your company?
You're going to date myself. I think I was, let's see, we're back up. I guess I was 35.
35. So did you prepare yourself in any way, like taking courses or going to events? I know you went to that one career fair, but did you read books? Did you prepare yourself to start JP and Associates Realtors?
No, I had on-the-job training. I sold so many homes. I understood the agent business. I was an agent. I understood what it took. So, going from a realtor team leader to really starting a company, it wasn't that difficult. Yeah, I had to have some licensing classes to be the broker in charge and that sort of stuff. But I knew what I was doing. I was pretty good at it. So, of course, I didn't envision being here today. This wasn't the goal. Today JPAR operates in 19 states and has 3,200 agents. It's one of Inc. Fastest growing franchises, top 10 fastest growing franchises in the United States. And rapidly expanding. So it's America's fastest growing 100% commission brokerage. So, we've done
Wow.
some great things, but I certainly didn't think I was going to be here today 9 years ago when I started this company.
And the reason why I asked that question is because a lot of people think they want to wait until they get that license or read a bunch of books or, get all these certificates and degrees because as an immigrant, they think that they need that. So
Yeah,
that's the reason why I asked is because I get to hear a lot of these stories and they're like, no, you really don't need to do that. And
no, you really,
you're
really
you're
don't.
just showing proof example of how you just, hustled out there and did some really hard, solid work, and then you decided to open up your business. So let's talk a little bit about failures. How do you look at them? How do you overcome them? I just want to hear a little bit about that.
Well, that's failure is always part of the process. I mean, every day, whether you realize it or not, we face failures in business or even personal relationships and whatnot. Whether a deal didn't happen or whether somebody told you no, if you're in sales, failure is just 99% sales. So especially in real estate, we're used to being told no 90% of the times. So, to me, it's just a lesson. It just gets you closer to success, gets you closer to that yes. It's definitely a learning lesson. So I'm not afraid of failure. I just know that's going to happen. I felt plenty of times, and I'm really confident about myself and knowing that whatever happens, I'll be fine. That's that I'm going to learn a lot from failure. I'm going to, chances are 10 years from now, or maybe I may not understand why I failed or why God has given me that path, but it's sure hell I realize it later on. Every single time I look back and I'm really thankful. Like, God, I'm really thankful that didn't happen because,
Hmm.
where I would be today. So I try not to put a square peg in a round hole. If it fits, then I go for it. If I'm passionate about it, if it makes sense, I go for it. That's my strategy. So I don't really lose sleep about it. If
Hmm.
I'm if I lose sleep, it's because I'm really excited about it, not because I'm anxious.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Let's chat a little bit about successes. You've mentioned some, but before you get to answer the question, I just want to prep you. The reason why I ask about successes is to show the other immigrants that they can do it too. So, with that, I'll leave it up to you to share whatever success you would like with our listeners.
Oh my gosh! So to all my fellow immigrants, first and foremost, you're given, if you're here in the United States, you're given an opportunity that very few of us have. That is to prove your worth, to be able to be a resident of the greatest country in the world, where opportunities abound. So please don't be the victim. Please be thankful. Please have a chip on your shoulder the size of, Mount Kilimanjaro. I understand that you have a duty in this country to earn your right to be a citizen, and that when you do get to that point, you need to give it back. And success, really, to be honest with you, is mastering a skill, learning and being the best that you can be at whatever it is. If you need to go and get a PhD to be the best rocket science out there, then go for it. If you need to get an astrophysicist degree and write dissertations or write books to be the best NASA engineer that could possibly be, then go for it, right? Whatever it is, make sure that you don't necessarily pursue a passion, but you pursue a career. And once that you pursue that career, that you're so passionate about it that you can't stop wanting to learn more and wanting to grow and wanting to get to the next level. For me, that was real estate, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't happy being the 500th agent in my market. I wanted to be the number one agent in my market. I wanted to be the best agent in my market. That's what drives us at JP and Associates Realtors. We don't want to be like every other franchise. We don't want to be like every other brokerage. We want to be the number one. So let that passion that fuels you because you love your career so much really make us stand out from everybody else. You come from a difficult background. If you're an immigrant, you don't have it as good as the Americans had it when they were born here. I look at my kids and I'm like, you have no idea. You know?
Yeah.
So, the problem is probably going to be the kids of the immigrants because we had nothing and we give everything to our kids. So our
Mhm.
kids are going to be a bunch of spoiled brats, right? Versus us. That's usually how it
Right.
happens. So that's the best advice I can give my fellow immigrants.
Awesome. Did you have any mentors that helped you starting your business or maybe right now where you're at with your business?
I've had so many mentors, Alina. Whether they knew it or not, I sponged off of everybody that I've met that would have reached any kind of level of success in the field that I was in.
Hmm.
I would study how they would talk. I would study how they would move. I would study how they would work. I would study what they would do. I would try to befriend them. I would try to get as close to them as possible. Because obviously, if I was sponging off them, I wanted to be like them. And to be honest with you, I still do that. I love. I'm in a group of G100, the top 100 CEOs in the country, and I'm just a member. Definitely not one of the top 100 CEOs in the country. The top 100.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah, and I love having conversation with Ed Bastian. The CEO of listening to him, the CEO of Delta. There's so many great guys that I can listen in that I'm sponging. They're not necessarily what you would call a mentor, but
Hmm.
more of a speaker, more of somebody that inspires me. So I keep sponging off those guys.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. That's so powerful. A lot of immigrants right now are saying that it's so hard to start a business in America. What would you say to that?
Well, if you're going to go start a restaurant, it's probably pretty difficult. But if you're going to go start the home delivery, food delivery business, or a tent. If you live in New York City, restaurants are not able to dine inside. Everybody has to dine outside. A tent set up business so that restaurants, can set up shop and dining outside. Then I would tell you it's a great time to start that business. If you're in the gun business, if you make ammo and sell guns, it's a great time to be in that business. Fact is that's not true. That truth is feel a need, and whatever time in the market that need is, whatever it is, and just feel the need. Give what the consumers want, and it'd be a great time to start it.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so amazing. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is giving back, either volunteering or giving back in any way, something that is part of your business values?
Oh, absolutely. The brokerage, and now I'm the CEO of a private equity firm called Vesuvius Holdings, but JP and Associates Realtors, which was the caveat for us to be able to manage a private equity firm. JP and Associates Realtors values are that of productivity and service. I've always given back. I've always had a soft heart for kids, so we always look to give back. Love immigrants. We've bought computer labs for immigration schools, camps, and whatever else here in the United States.
Mm.
Like I said earlier, we have a duty to give it back.
Mm.
And I won't go on record too much, but if I can give back to an immigrant,
Mhm.
but no, we want to help out everybody that we can, and you have to give back. The secret of success in life is mastering. The purpose of life is giving it away, whatever you mastered.
Awesome.
So go for it. Give it back. And the universe will shower you back tenfold. One of my favorite quotes is Zig Ziglar's quote. It says, "You can have everything you want in life as long as you help other people get what they want first."
Yes. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with these last super fast questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What time do you normally start your day?
Varies. I do not have a set schedule in the morning.
Okay.
No later than 8:30 though.
Okay. And the next one is normally how many employees do you have, but how many agents do you have?
Well, we have about 50 full-time employees, and then we have 3,200 agents.
Wow.
Which are all independent
Amazing.
contractors.
Amazing. And then how often do you watch TV in a week?
Never.
Awesome. How many hours of work do you normally put in?
I have no idea. I'm always working. I may not be in the office, but I call this work. So.
Okay. Awesome. And what is your favorite food?
Depends what I'm in the mood in. I like a good crappy cheeseburger from a hole-in-the-wall diner. I've got a thing for cheeseburgers. And then I love, of course, Italian food when it's done right. It may be my house, but, in Dallas, we don't have a whole lot of Italian food options. But I'm also could be in the mood for some Chinese food. So that, I think that's what makes me who I am. And so, so versatile to so many different people. And we manage these 4 completely different businesses. We really try to be a jack of all trades. And I love different food. So I don't have a favorite.
Okay, no worries. I'll take that. JP, thank you so much for coming onto this show. I think you're doing amazing work out there. I want to send you warm wishes and blessings your way. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with all the immigrants out there. And I hope to connect with you sometime in the future.
Well, I think JPAR is going to plant the flag in California soon. So if we do, I'll hit you up.
So honored to talk to you.
Thank you, Alina. Appreciate the time. Thanks a lot. Alrighty,
guys, so there you have it. I hope you got to learn something exciting and awesome for your journey as well. If you're listening to this podcast and you're an immigrant entrepreneur and would love to be on my show, please email me at hello@alinawarwick.com. I'd be happy to have you on my show. You are part of America's great success.